Hello and welcome to Gracie Media USA. For those who are already members, thank you for choosing your platform number one. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting on my videos. Thank you for those who are joining us for the first time. You're welcome to join the family. Choose to subscribe. Let's move this journey together. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Gracie Media USA. Today I'm going to take you through the instruction for application of DV Lottery 2024. The instructions are out and we are remaining with some few days before you get to apply for diversity visa, commonly known as green card. Are you ready? Are you ready? We are going to highlight today the key things that you need to pay attention to. The first thing is, are you eligible to apply for the DV Lottery 2024, aka Green Card Lottery 2024? So you have to meet two requirements in order for you to be eligible to apply for the DV Lottery 2024. Requirement number one, you must be a native of a country with historically low rates of immigration to the United States. What does that mean? You are born in a country that is not listed among the countries listed here. As you can see on my shared screen, we have countries like Bangladesh, Brazil, China, Canada, and the rest. They are all listed here: Colombia, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Honduras, India, Jamaica, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, Republic of Korea, United Kingdom and its territories, Venezuela and Vietnam. The natives, those who are born in these countries, they are not eligible to apply for DV Lottery 2024. The reason being, in the past 5 years, these countries have had more than 50,000 natives immigrating to USA, and therefore it is a time to give other countries with a low immigration rate a chance. So if your country is not mentioned here, you meet requirement number one and you can apply for DV Lottery 2024. But again, all is not lost. If you come to countries which have been mentioned here, but you have, for instance, a spouse, there are two things. One, you have a spouse from a native, from a country with a historically low rate of immigration to the United States. If your answer is yes, let's say, for instance, I see like in Africa, Nigeria is not eligible to apply, but maybe your spouse is from a country like Kenya. So what does that mean? Your spouse who is from Kenya can apply for DV Lottery and claim you to be the spouse in his or her application. In that case, if you chance to be selected and found eligible and you are issued diversity visas, you can enter United States at the same time. Another way, if you come from countries which are not eligible to apply, but maybe both or one of your parents is from a country whose natives are eligible to apply, then your parent, you may claim the country of birth of one of your parents, if it is a country whose natives are eligible for the DV 2024 programs. So I hope that one is very clear. So that one is about the country eligibility, the country of birth eligibility. Requirement number one. each DV applicant must meet the education and work experience requirement of the DV program by having either one, you have either at least a high school education or its equivalent, you know, or you have to, if you don't have like a high school education, that is termed in other countries like secondary school, you can also, you can meet this requirement if you have 2 years of work experience within the past 5 years in an occupation that requires at least 2 years of training or experience to perform. I would give you an example like, you know, electrician. Maybe you have been an electrician for a number of years. You have been working at least 2 years of training or experience. You can be in a position to meet that requirement. And the Department of State usually check on that, on those kind of careers or occupation from this website, All-Star-Net Online. So if you Google this website, you can try to check out or find out whether your occupation qualifies or meets this requirement of the work experience for the DV lottery application. All right. Now, if you meet those 2 requirements about the high school education or 2 years of work experience that requires at least 2 years of training or experience, then you are eligible to apply for DV Lottery 2024. Now, entry period. When is this valid? When are you going to start applying for DV Lottery 2024? Applicants must submit entries for the DV 2024 program electronically at this website, dvprogram.state.gov. So electronically means you have to fill it online, you know. So between noon Eastern Daylight Time, and that one we are talking of, for instance, the New York time, from noon October 5th, Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, to noon Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. Mark those dates. And you're actually instructed here, do not wait until the last week of the registration, because the demand may be so high and you might experience website delay. So it is good the moment the application entry has been opened, just run with it and start applying. Now, another thing I would like you to pay attention on is that the law allows only 1 entry per person during each entry period. You cannot apply for more than 1 entry or make more than one entry. You must do 1. And submission of more than 1 entry for a person will disqualify all entries for that person. So it's just good. Stick with 1 and believe that you will win when it comes to the lottery. So another thing I would like you to pay attention on, as long you Google this website, you know, submit your electronic diversity visa entry form online at this website, dvprogram.state.gov. There is no cost to submit the online entry form. Maybe if you go to a cyber cafe and you use the facilities there, you might be charged the time you have spent on the cyber cafe, but application itself, submitting the online entry form is free of charge, So you are also guided to use an updated browser when submitting your application so that you avoid any problem that may arise due to website delay and the like. Another thing I'm going to say, and we have been instructed here, you are encouraged to complete the entry form yourself without a visa consultant, visa agent, or other person who offers to help. If somebody else offers to help you, you must be there. You must confirm that you are answering all the questions asked correctly. And at the end, you must keep your unique number and make a printout of your confirmation screen, because you will need that when it comes to checking time, whether you have been selected. So in other words, we are saying this is something you can do even yourself, as long as you have access to good website where you can be able to browse and enter this website. You can apply yourself an application, a visa application. So what else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? So after you have applied, it is good, again, to make sure that you keep your unique confirmation number, make a printout of your confirmation number. You can even take a screenshot of your confirmation number with your phone to ensure that you don't lose it. Just keep it safe, because beginning May 6th, 2023, you will require that confirmation number to check your status, whether you have been selected, and you will return back to the DV program state.gov, and you will click some place written as entrant status check, and you will enter your unique number and your personal information to check whether you have been selected. You have been selected. By the way, the state, the DV program state people do not send you an email to inform you that you have been selected or not. It is upon you to go back to this website and check beginning on May 6th whether you have been selected. Now, you must provide all of the following information to complete your entry. When you will be completing your online application, ensure you submit correctly, or you enter all this information correctly. Your name, that is the last name or the family name, your first name, middle name. If you have a middle name, there are some people who don't have middle name, but at least you must have the first name and the last name, which is normally the family name. Make sure you enter it exactly as it appears on your passport. This year, we don't have the requirement that you must have the passport to apply, but if you have your ID, your identification card, make sure all your birth certificate, because when you will be applying for the passport, you will use your birth certificate. Make sure your name appear as they appear on your identification card, and if you have your birth certificate, the better, because you will use your birth certificate to apply for your passport, and your names must always match. So that is on name. Ensure that you enter your names correctly, and you're told if your passport shows only your first and last family name, please list your family or last name and then first name. Do not include a middle name unless it is included on your passport. If your passport includes a first, middle, and last family name, please list them in the following order: family or last name, first name, middle name. If you have only one name, it must be entered in the last or family name field. So those are very important instructions to pay attention to. The second question will be on gender. Are you a male or female? The third question will be on about your birth date. You will enter the day you are born, the month, and the year in that order. The other question will be about the city where you are born. Yeah. So once you get to that slot, you will check. If you're not sure about the city you are born, there will be somewhere written, maybe city unknown. You can click on that, but you must enter the city that you are born. Okay, so how about the country? Number 5 will be about the country where you are born. You should use the name of the country currently used for the place where you were born. Use the name of the country currently used for the place where you were born. Country of eligibility for the DV program. Yeah, that is where we were talking about. Your country of eligibility will normally be the same as your country of birth. Yeah, your country of eligibility is not related to where you live or your nationality. It is where you are born. Where you are born, that is your country of eligibility. And as we stated before, there are some countries which are not eligible because they have had more than 50,000 natives immigrating to United States of America. But we said again, if you are born in a country that is not eligible, remember we said you can claim your country of the country of eligibility of your parents or one of your parents or your spouse. All right, entry photographs. This is very key, and I think majority of the people mess up here. Don't just take a photograph from a local place just there. Make sure you go and get a professional photograph taken within the last 6 months of yourself, your spouse, and all your derivative children to be included in the entry. This should be digital photograph, and all the composition and technical specification have been described here. See submitting a digital photograph. So if you get, you can be able to find this on the website, the digital specification, and the composition. How should a photograph appear to be? So DV entry photographs must meet the same standard as the US visa photos. This is why at least you should, it's good if you are doing this the last minute. I advise you to make sure, if you're doing this the last minute, I advise you to make sure you get somewhere or a place where you can be taken a professional digital photograph. Those photographs, they meet the requirement for or the same standards as US visa photos. You will be ineligible for a DV if the entry photograph for you and your family members do not fully meet this specification or have been manipulated in any way. So most of the people fail actually to be selected because of their photos. So submitting the same photograph that was submitted with the prior year's entry will make you ineligible for a DV. So see submitting a digital photograph below for more information. Yeah. So if you Google this and you click on that, you should be able to see the standards that are required for the digital photograph. So take note, because so many people have lost their chances because of the photograph. Get the correct one and the best specification. Number 8, mailing address. Yeah, mailing address. So this one, if you come from a country like where I come from, and probably you don't even have the mailing address, like you don't have the post office address, you can use a church address that you know, or you're close to, or a friend's, address, something like that. Some of the terms here may not be familiar to some of us, like zip code. Zip code particularly I had it the first time in the United States, but at least we have postal code. So you just need to follow up with the instructions bit by bit and ensure you complete where, especially it's optional, you don't have to worry so much about that. But if some place it's required, some information is required, make sure you get the right and correct information. Another question will be completing country where you live today. Where do you live today? You could be, residing in a country which is not your native country where you were born. So you will be required to complete that information. Tell us the country where you live today, because maybe you are applying when you are in a different country other than where you were born. Probably you are doing some business there, or you're pursuing a study there. So it is good to mention the country where you're living today. Phone number, you can, provide it, but it's optional. That means you don't have to, but there's no harm providing your phone number. Email address, this one, an email address to which you have direct access and will continue to have direct access through May of the next year, when you will be checking. If you check the entrant status check in May and learn you have been selected, you will later receive follow-up email communications from the Department of State with the details if an immigrant visa interview becomes available. So that's why you need to have an email address. Have an email address. Yeah. Open one, Gmail, if you don't have one. All right. So this is key here. This one in bold letters. The Department of State will never send you an email telling you that you have been selected for the DV program. But they will, once you confirm that you have been selected using your confirmation number, come May 6th, you confirm that you have been selected. Then now the Department of State will follow up with email communication of when your interview can become available. All right. So there will be a question asking you to enter the highest level of education you have achieved as of today. Yeah, primary school only, some high school or no diploma, high school diploma, vocational school. Let's say, for instance, you did up to primary school and then you went and do vocational school where you trained for an occupation which you have been working for 2 years, for at least 2 years. You can apply the highest level of education as the vocational school, vocational school. If your highest level of education is university degree, feel that, or doctorate, PhD, feel that. Another question you'll be required to answer is about current marital status. Are you unmarried? That means single. You've never been married. Are you married and my spouse is not a U.S. citizen or U.S. lawful permanent resident? Married and my spouse is a U.S. citizen or U.S. LPR, divorced, widowed, legally separated. So you will be required to select your current marital status. If you have been separated, yeah, but not legally, you're supposed to complete that as married. You should take note of that. Legally separated means there has been some procedure, you know, the law has come in, so it is well documented. But if it is just separating and you're still, you know, the documentation still show that you're married, then you should just feel as married. Enter the name, date of birth, gender, city, town of birth, and country of birth of your spouse, and a photograph of your spouse meeting the same technical specification as your photo. This is very key. There are people who think maybe because they are separated with their spouse or divorced and not legally, they can fail to enter that information when applying for DV lottery. And I would say that might make your application ineligible. So it is important just to include them, and then you will things will take their course later. Failure to list your eligible spouse or listing someone who is not your spouse will make you ineligible as the DV principal applicant, and your spouse and children ineligible as DV derivative applicants. You must list your spouse even if you currently are separated from him or her, unless you are legally separated. That's what I had just mentioned. Legal separation is an arrangement when a couple remains married but live apart following a court order. So there must be a court order for it to be termed as legal. If you and your spouse are legally separated, your spouse will not be able to immigrate with you through the DV program. You will not be penalized if you choose to enter the name of a spouse from whom you are legally separated. No penalization. If you are not legally separated by a court order, you must include your spouse, even if you plan to be divorced before you apply for the diversity visa, or your spouse does not intend to immigrate. So that is key. Yeah, if you're not legally separated, include your spouse information there, even if you plan to divorce later before you get your diversity visa. Remember, at this stage, you are applying, you're trying your luck to be selected, and then later on, you will now need to apply for the diversity visa. If your spouse is a US citizen or lawful permanent resident, do not list them here in your entry because they are already citizen. I mean, yeah, you don't need to list them here. Number of children, list the name, the date of birth, gender, city, town of birth, and country of birth for all living and married children under 21 years of age, regardless of whether they are living with you or intend to accompany or follow to join you. Any unmarried children under 21 years, please list them there. Include their names, their dates of birth, gender, towns, or city or towns of birth, and country of birth for all living and married children. Remember, you also need their photographs that meet the standards. So here, submit individual photographs for each of your children using the same specification as your own photograph. Be sure to include all living natural children, all living children legally adopted by you, all living stepchildren who are unmarried and under the age of 21 years on the date of your electronic entry. Even if you are no longer legally married to the child's parent, and even if the child does not currently reside with you or will not immigrate with you, just list them. You know, married children and children who are already age 21 or older when you submit your entry are not eligible for the DV program. However, the Child Status Protection Act protects children from aging out in certain circumstances. If you submit your DV entry before your unmarried child turns 21 and the child turns 21 before visa issuance, it is possible that he or she may be treated as though he or she were under 21 for visa processing purposes. I think that is great, you know. If at the time of application, your child is still not 21 yet, but by the time you apply for diversity visa, when your visa you will be issued with your visa, maybe your child will have turned 21. That one, under this law, the child will still be treated as if he is still or she is still under 21, because you applied when he or she was still under 21. A child who is already a US citizen, or LPR, when you submit your DV entry, will not require to be issued a diversity visa. Again, if your child is already a US citizen, no need to apply or to be issued a diversity visa. You will not be penalized though for either including or omitting such family members for your entry. So don't worry, if you include them by mistake, you will not be penalized because of that. Failure to list all children who are eligible or listing someone who is not your child will make you ineligible for a DV or your spouse, and children will also be ineligible as diversity visa derivative applicant. Very key. Don't just bring in a child who is not legally your own in the application, because you will make your application ineligible. So those are the key points that we need to learn today as we prepare to apply for DV Lottery 2024. And once you are selected again, beginning from May 6th, you will be in a position to check whether you have been selected. All selectees, including family members, must be issued visas by September 30th, 2024. Under no circumstances can the Department of State issue DV, nor can USCIS approve an adjustment after this date. So once you are selected and you know you are coming, you should start now processing for your visa application for yourself and your family members by September 30th, 2024. All right. So in this instruction, which you can also find them because now they have been posted on the website, you will be able to find all the specifications, like even examples of acceptable photos. The standards, your photos or digital images must meet all this. So this one I'm not going to go through in this video, but you can be able to find all these standards or requirements in the instructions that have been provided on this website. So if you Google travel.state.gov or you Google instruction for the 2024 Diversity Immigrant Visa Program, you should be able to access these instructions, and there's so much. It's actually 21 pages, and you can be able to see also the frequently asked questions, which are very important. If you go through them before you start your application, you stand a better chance to understand actually what is required of you. So that is for today, and I hope this opens your eyes and you start preparing for the remaining dates. Get to find out what you need, and I would say the first thing is a digital photograph that meet the correct specifications, even as you find out the correct information to fill. So come October 5th, just get into it and start applying for the DV Lottery 2024. Bye for now, until the next video. Bye.